and hearing some conversations with teachers about grading in their class and students' performance. So I just wanted to throw a couple things out there. One question that's been in my mind here the last couple weeks is how many opportunities should students be allowed to be successful in our classes? How many opportunities should we allow students to be successful? Because I've heard a range from no retakes to retakes to however many times you want, to you got 3 days, you got 2 weeks, and it's kind of all over the place. And don't mishear me. I'm not pushing for any sort of everybody's got to do it the same way. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I've heard a lot of different variations. And I just want to ask this question: how many opportunities should students be allowed to be successful? We talk, a lot about we got to prepare students for life after high school, right? The real world. Well, if we want to do a real world example, I'm glad that I'm able to drive because I failed my driving test the first time. I'm glad the state of South Carolina let me do a retake, or else I'd be bumming a ride from Ken every morning. Okay? I probably had to wait 2 weeks or something. I don't even remember how long I had to wait to take it. Again, probably 2 weeks, yeah. Is that parallel parking that got me the first time? And I didn't turn my blinker on to indicate that I was parallel. It was like a double whammy. They got me. But anyways, I'm glad that the state of South Carolina said, all right, you can try it again. And guess what? If you fail a second time, guess what? You can try it again. If you fail another time, you can try it again. What about that pesky praxis test? I'm not going to ask anybody. I'm not asking for any raised hand, but I'm telling you this. I went to school with some people that failed praxis. They're teaching now because they got to retake it. But we as educators have had that opportunity to retake it. We didn't have to ace it, did we?
No.
We didn't have to ace it.
When you give grades, do you give the person who passed it the first time the same grade as the person who passed it on the fourth time?
That's up to you. That's up to him. It's different.
I don't. I wouldn't.
Okay. And that's fine.
One of the main things that my son, who graduates in 9 days from Lander, right about this semester though, was if he had a late assignment and he learned it the hard way at the very beginning of the semester, no other chance. If he didn't turn it in, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. How do you get that across to the kids and then give them a chance? Which I mean, my kids can come back 500 times. God love them, they can't read. I don't care. But
Yeah.
for kids who are going on, they just need to know.
Right. Yeah. And they're gonna experience a different things out there. They might have that professor that says, you didn't do it, sorry, tough luck. Then they might have that professor that gives them the opportunity. I mean, I had both. I had people that said, all right, you can take it again, and we'll take that first score that you got, combine with the next score that you got. What happens to it?
Start with an 80.
And another teacher might do it differently. Another teacher might say, all right, whatever your highest is. If you want to get mastery, they'll give you that. So I'm not giving you an answer for this question. I'm just throwing it out there as something to reflect upon. Okay, something else. What's the connection between rigor and student results? I've been battling with that question in my mind lately because I don't know the answer. In our math and social studies SLO conferences, I had those like pass-fail percentage rates that I went over with teachers at that time. And y'all vouch for me. I mean, I didn't jump up and down if there were 100% pass rate, and I didn't get on you if there was 60% fail rates. Because there's not a magic number, right? I mean, I don't believe that there is. Can you have a class with everybody getting A's and it be rigorous? Sure. Yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely, it can happen. So I can't look at a number on a piece of paper and say that's good or that's bad. How many of you had that teacher before? I know I had them in about each level, all the way through college, that, you know, well, if you get an A in my course, you earned it. You know, it's like they're holding on to it like, you know,
It's a prize.
yeah, it's a prize to win, and, you know, from my cold dead hands when you grab this A. Like, you know, making it tough for a kid to get an A. And well, if it's tough for a kid to get an A, then it's tough for other kids to get the B. That, you know, it's tough to get the C, and it kind of trickles down. So, again, I don't have an answer there. I'm just I'm sharing something with you that I'm struggling with. What's the balance there between rigor and grades?
I think one of the things that we need to look at is what are they being expected to do at their jobs? And this is what the WorkCase helps out. Are we preparing them to either work or go to college? And really, it's one or the other. Now, and I think we talked about this just the other day, a couple of us. The problem is, we've got classes of students at 5 or 6 different levels. And we're being asked to hold rigor for all of them. And that's hard to do when you don't have a homogeneous group. It's a struggle, and I feel like we bang our heads against the wall a lot of times because we want to teach them at a level where we can increase their knowledge. But if we're being held accountable for rigor, well, we've got kids who can't write a sentence.
Right.
How am I supposed to make sure that they get where they need to go?
Okay.
It's like, it's two things being pulled against, and we're in the middle. And we want to be rigorous. We want our kids to come out of Westside with a diploma that means something. We really do. But it's not happening.
It's tough.
Because, you know, it's like banging your head against the wall, and it's very frustrating. You know, those of us who are in it to win it, we're in it every day, doing everything we can to make sure everybody raises their level. But that's hard to do when there's 6 different levels. So, I so appreciate what you're saying, because we are in here doing it the best we can, but they're making it harder for us to do it. Because if I had a group of kids who were tech kids, I could raise them 3 or 4 levels. I know I could. But I've got kids who belong in honors and are just too lazy to be there, and I've got kids who can't write a sentence. And it's so hard.
It's tough.
So, we want the answer, like you did.
Yeah,
We really do.
I wish if I had it, I'd write a book or something.
Because the government is not giving us what we need. We need kids who are a homogeneous group so we can push them up. And I saw it with my kids when they were in math. I have a daughter who didn't do very well in math. They put her in the lower group. She knew she was in the lower group, but that didn't affect her because she raised 3 levels in 1 year.
We used to have that, but they claimed it hurt their self-esteem, and we went to,
It's ridiculous to think it hurts their feelings when we're not helping them. They're coming out of high school less prepared, in my opinion, because of it. So, okay.
Thank you, Sharon. No,
It's a change.
yeah, no, I understand.
Do you need this back too?
No, I don't need the course category. Something else I've been struggling with, and I'm just being honest with you. Again, I don't have the answer. I'm just sharing some thoughts that I hope you're thinking about, especially as you look at your grade book. Zeros, we'll get to the interview question in a minute, but zeros and the effect of zero in a grade book. Put an example up here, you know, to say a kid comes to Strop's class, you know, 5 times, 5 assessments, he's getting hundreds. Then he misses a day, misses assignment, never makes it up. Strop puts in a 0. Well, which grade is closer to the student's actual performance when he's there? You see that 50 still failing for that. They still fail that assessment. But does it kill the student's grade? And again, I'm not making policy here. I'm just giving you something to think about. Okay? Which one of these is more reflective of the student's daily performance?
Except
I
that if
know.
you want us to do rigor, relevance, and relationships, then we have to prepare them for the relationship with the workplace. And when they don't do their task, they don't get paid. Or they get fired because they're not putting out the particular amount that they need to. And the only way that you can motivate kids at this level is by putting in the 0 so that they say, oh, I do have to do that work.
Sure.
And that's been year after year after year. There have been years when I haven't put in any 0s. Nothing got made up. And the kids didn't learn a blessed thing in terms of relationships for the outside world.
Sure. Yeah, and listen, I'll be the first to raise my hand. I put in 0, and I know from a visual standpoint, it really helps me to see that red 0 popping up in the grade book, and it really helps to be able to say, hey, listen, look at this 0 here. This is, if you make this up, look and see what your grade jumps to. So it's easy from a, probably using the term incorrect, but a grade manipulation standpoint of saying, hey, here's what it is now, but if you make it up, here's what it can be. So it's
a great motivator.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. It's a great motivator. If you don't get it done, here are the consequences. If you do get it done, here's what you get to enjoy. So I understand, and again, I'm not saying don't do it, don't put it in there. I just want to, like, if we get to the end of the term here, and we still have a lot of 0s in there, just, again, know the effect. And I'm going to talk, I'll come back to this in a minute, but this is something I'm going to talk with the kids about tomorrow. The seniors that are on that list that we're going to get to in a minute. But they need to understand. I think sometimes that they think, well, if I've done 3 assignments and 3 of, if I've been responsible for 4 assignments, I've done 3 of them, I've got hundreds, I'm doing really well in the class. No, you actually have a 75, you got a D, if you have that 0 factor. And I don't know that all the times that they make that connection of what the 0 actually is doing to them. So we'll have that conversation more with some seniors.
And I was gonna say that at the end of the 9 weeks, I could definitely see the 50, putting the 50 in there, so it would be more reflective of what they did the whole 9 weeks.
So
I think
we
they were
change it
at the end, but I also see how the 0 is motivation.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially if it's like a major test, because then, I want that to mean something if it's a major assessment. I don't want them just to blow that off.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing I just wanted to share with you, we're kind of getting into that time of year where personnel things are coming up, we're doing interviews and all that stuff. One of the questions that Kathy and I always done in interviews is what is the phrase, this has been around for a while now, what does the phrase failure is not an option mean to you? Just throw it out there. What does it mean to you? I think a lot of times there's some folks that give us the answer that they think they want us, that they think we want to hear, meaning, oh, I have a 100% pass rate. No kid fails my class. Well, that tells me a lot. That could be good or bad. I mean, it could be great that 100% of the kids pass if they all done the work. But you passing the kids just so that nobody quote unquote fails, that's a problem. But I think what we really get to in that question is, what are your expectations for students for passing your class? Is allowing 0s to build up and say it's their responsibility, you got to come to me, and blah blah blah. It's on you. It's all on you. Is that holding high expectations for the students, or is it the opposite? Is it really low expectations because it's saying, well, it's really all on you to make up things. So I don't know. Just wanted to share that with you, just as a thought. Again, I don't know what that last session, those 3 points were. I don't know, but let's look at this last sheet. We'll wrap it up. A couple weeks ago, Ms. Steeple sent out an email with an attachment asking for seniors who were failing to communicate with parents. And she heard about 20 students that were failing, 20 seniors that were failing. We pulled this list yesterday. 68 seniors.